So welcome to the end. So it is my task to start with the wrap up. So after 3.5 days where we asked the question, can purpose deliver better corporate governance? What have we learned? So I think there was agreement on a number of points. Jordi already mentioned some of them in the previous session. So first of all, I think there was unanimous agreement that people are not universally motivated by money. They're looking for a purpose in what they do. So one obvious question is, how can business schools not teach purpose? I think that everybody agreed on. Second point was there was unanimous agreement about the challenges that lie ahead. Unless we can bring about radical change, we are being threatened by extinction. The third area of agreement was an inherent contradiction in the capitalist system. Capitalism has been very successful in spurring growth, innovation, and alleviating poverty. It has been more successful than potential alternatives. So, for example, the German Democratic Republic was not very democratic, and it was definitely not healthy for its workers. On the other hand, the accelerating change we have seen, the accelerating damage we've seen to the environment over the last 40 years has been largely caused by the capitalist system. Now, there was less agreement on the way forward. I thought that Claudia Gartenberg showed that purpose statements matter as a management tool and their use differs across ownership types. And that came through very powerfully in the research that she presented. Colin Meyer argued that purpose goes beyond purpose statements. He argued that purpose must be built into corporate governance, measured, and companies should be held accountable. Patrick Bolton showed that financial markets are already pricing in climate risk, but the question was raised if investors are leaders or followers. The change in the premium he showed occurred when the Paris Agreement was signed, and the Paris Agreement was not a private initiative. Are companies leaders or are they following their investors? We heard that private equity seems to be oblivious. And what about family firms? We didn't hear about them. Well, we heard through enlightened leaders in the last panel, and I thought that was very encouraging. Now, Rebecca Henderson argued that capitalism must be reimagined. Bengt Holmström urged caution and argued that capitalism is very good at reinventing itself. Luigi Zingales broadly agreed and called for freedom of enterprise. Finally, Paul Pullman invited us to rethink how we think about growth and what is sustainable. So what's the answer to our question, can purpose deliver better corporate governance? Well, I heard that corporate governance is more fundamental than purpose. Ownership and control define purpose. Empirically, companies that use purpose as a management tool are more successful. Using purpose to denote a particular type of corporate governance creates confusion, and that seems to be more than a point, that seems to be a point beyond semantics. Now today, I thought we concluded by discussing the bigger question about the way forward for capitalism. And it was clear that markets alone are not going to solve the sustainability problem, but neither is the state. Now, before we get all very depressed, let me finish on an optimistic note. And I want to quote from the 2009 Nobel Prize in Economics page, which reads, "It was long unanimously held amongst economists that natural resources that were collectively used by their users would be overexploited and destroyed in the long term," also known as the tragedy of the commons. Elinor Ostrom disproved the idea. She showed that when natural resources are jointly owned by their users, in time, rules are established for how these are to be carefully used in a way that is both economically and ecologically sustainable. Now, according to research cited by Noah Harari, sapiens, that's us, has come to dominate the planet because we are a cooperative species manipulated by our genes to survive. That provides further hope. Now, of course, it is also possible that in 100 years, we will have vanished and the optimistic end to this conference will be discussed by robots with an artificial intelligence superior to ours. So with this, Jordi, I turn over to you to have the very last final word.
Thank you very much, Marco, for this wrap-up of the conference. It's been a fantastic 3-day journey, very intense in terms of the quality of the debates, the depth of the ideas, and also the transformational impact of some of those ideas. But we need to think deeper. I think that this is part of what we do at the institutions such as ECGI and IESE, and this is what we should try to keep doing, because the world has many needs and we need to come up with solutions. I think that that entrepreneurs, managers, academics, we all should work together to try to tackle some of the challenges that are affecting us in this 21st century. It's been an incredible journey. We have been led by outstanding world-class thinkers in this 3-day conference. And we are, first of all, very grateful to each one of them, the people who presented papers, people who discussed those papers, the chairs of the different sessions, people who participated in the panels. I think that we got different perspectives. We do not know whether those perspectives are going to be aligned completely, but I think they give us food for thought, both in terms of ideas for further research and teaching, but also ideas for the practice of management and governance, and not only for companies, but also for asset managers and investors. I do think that there are many ideas along this 3-day conference that are going to be extremely useful to consider by all of us. I would like to thank as well ECGI, Marco Becht, Elaine McParland, Vanessa Koenig for their wonderful partnership in this conference. We have already organized a number of them, and it's always a pleasure to work with you, Marco. Thank you very much, and congratulations on this fantastic organization that you lead. I also want to thank the Social Trends Institute and Professor Carlos Caballé for the support to this conference, and also the Strategic Management Society for endorsing this conference and giving the conference a wider audience among the members of the Strategic Management Society. Let me also point out that this would not have been possible without the support of many of my IESE colleagues who have helping me in many different ways. Felix Sanchez, Sabrina Bosch, Miriam Fresha, and many others here at the school. So it's, as you know, all of you know IESE, and I think that we do what we do because we have an outstanding team of professionals, not only faculty members, but professionals who help us organize events like this one. And I also want to finish, as Marco did, with a note of optimism. We do not have the final answer on corporate purpose and corporate governance. We don't have it. We have to be humble, and we need to keep trying to discover this. But I have to share with you that I feel energized when I listen to people such as Paul Pullman or Dennis Kingsmill or Jose Viñals or Juvencio or Sophie Elias the other day, people who are in the real world of management, of governance, of investment, and they are committed to bring about change. I think this is a real source of hope for all of us. And also not just the proof of the willingness of those people, which is very important, but also the fact that they are thinking about how they can work out models of management, of investment, of governance, of boards of directors, taking those issues seriously, using management innovation in a deep way, such as what the examples that Rebecca Henderson just mentioned in the previous session, just to bring about change. And I think if there is a final message of this conference, is that there are companies out there that are doing this. This is a signal of hope. This is something that I think we should feel energized by. And I think that we should commit to try to keep finding solutions to make the world a better place, to leave behind a better legacy. And actually, as Jose and Dennis and Ruben mentioned in the previous session, how we make companies more human, how we put humanity and values at the heart of what we do every day. Because if we do this, we'll take care of people, we'll take care of planet, and we'll take care of better decision-making that will improve the quality of governance. So thank you very much for this wonderful company that you have offered us during those 3 days in this conference. Without you, obviously, this conference would not have been possible. So thank you very much. Thank you, Marco. And we'll look forward to keep working on this topic and keep actually thinking together on how we can make corporate governance better to build more resilient, more respected companies for a better society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jordi. Thank you very much.